And the question is, do I go back to school? Do I get a degree? Do I need this computer science thing? Or can I just do a boot camp? Can I self-study? Can I teach, right? Can I teach myself the skills I need to know and then do that? And the answer is that all of those are valid options. You have plenty of ways that you can educate yourself. You have more tools than I ever had in my life. For me, it was you go to school and you get a computer science degree and that's pretty much it. But now you've got boot camps, you've got YouTube videos, you've got websites and tutorials and books and all these other kinds of things you can put together to really form an education for yourself. And if you have the discipline and the willingness to work hard, if you're willing to put in the time, it will pay off. It may not pay off tomorrow, it may not pay off next year, but it generally will pay off. I run a business where I consult and help people with technical interviews. And one of the first things I tell them is you don't have to give me a single dime. Everything that I know, I already teach you for free. I put it in an article. Everything that you need to know to do exactly what I did, I've already written it out and shared it as widely as I possibly can. And I tell people up front, you don't have to give me a single dime. The reason why you give me a dime is because you want to talk to my face and have me tell you how bad you are, which I'm happy to do, no problem. Right? Because I want you to understand how you're bad so you can get better. And I want to have those honest conversations with you that other people aren't going to be willing to have. Right? So I want to do that. But you can apply the work. You can use resources and tools for free. A lot of times when I'm talking to people about getting into tech, I'm like, do you have a computer? Yes. Okay, then you can get into tech. It's about time. It's about energy. It's about willing to have the courage to take the risk. Now listen, I was at Google a month ago, right? And everybody's like, Anthony, why'd you leave? Why'd you leave Google? And I know this, it's crazy, right? Because I came from Compton, came from the hood, I was a foster kid, an abuse victim, all this other stuff. Made it to Google, got it on BuzzFeed. People are like, why'd you leave Google? I left Google for this. You understand me? I left Google for this. And what is this? Brilliant black minds. This matters to me because I want to pour into the next generation the way my ancestors, the way those that came before me made sacrifices so that I could be standing before you today. Let's get it started. All right, hopefully y'all can hear me. Okay, there we are. What's going on, fam? It's been a while. Been a while since I've done a live and jumped in here. You know, as the software engineer that I am, I can't just do a Twitter space. Like, I gotta go and, like, you know, stream on YouTube and, you know, on LinkedIn, IG. I'm like, let's do it all. So that's what we're doing today. We're just getting more complicated than it definitely needs to be. But, you know, I like to have fun with this. You know, I really like trying to stretch the limits of technology and getting all that going. So as you can see, we are actually live on the Twitter space. So there's all that. But you know, I wanted to make sure that everybody could participate as much as possible. So remember that we're officially on Twitter Spaces right now. So if you're on LinkedIn or YouTube or something like that and you want to come and be in the audience with us live, feel free to join us and we'll be happy to have you on Twitter Spaces, or you could just stay where you are and be comfortable. That's also cool as well. I have an excellent assembled panel of speakers here. I was really shocked that everybody agreed to say yes, and they didn't even take their sweet time about it. They just jumped in there. So I'm super grateful to our panelists. We've got Jared Albritton, we've got Bria Sullivan, Kelsey Hightower, Chisholm is here with us. Jeff, who is a coworker of mine, a person I've grown to respect immensely. So we've got such a great panel here and a great topic to talk about as well. Anybody that knows me, I talk about interviewing all the time, technical interviewing. I'm about helping more people get into tech. That's something that I'm just super passionate about. And so, true to form, here we are talking about tech interviewing again. If you get bored of me, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to help get the people in, right? So that's my whole dream and passion right there. Again, I'm Anthony D. Mays. I am your host for this hour. So thanks for tuning in wherever platform you're on. Like I said, I'm about helping people get in. So I run Morgan Latimer Consulting. I am the founder and a career coach and consultant with Morgan Latimer Consulting. I'm just going to take a moment to just shout out my lovely wife, Shannon Mays, who is my partner. She was with me when I had nothing, my high school sweetheart. She is the co-owner of Morgan Latimer Consulting and is working behind the scenes at all times to make sure that, things are running smoothly. She keeps me accountable. She energizes me when I get tired, because I do get tired sometimes doing this work, and she's right there. So I'm so grateful to her. Ivy's here. What's up, Ivy? Mike, good to see you. Oh, there's so many cool people. Sunday, what's up? Yeah. Okay, cool. There's just too much goodness. I don't deserve all this, but I'm grateful to be here. I just got back from Miami, Florida, where I was attending Emerge Americas. And that was, of course, crazy because I got to meet the one, the only, the GOAT, Miss Serena Williams. And why was I meeting Miss Serena Williams? I was meeting Serena because she recently made an investment in a program for which I serve as senior advisor, Brilliant Black Minds with Carrot. And so because of her investment in Brilliant Black Minds, we're now able to offer free technical interviews for any and all Black engineers in the U.S. That's something I'm super excited about. Y'all know my heart. If you know anything about me, you know how much I care about getting people ready for tech. And for me, it's about the hard work. It's about the practice. And who better to talk about practice and hard work than the Serena Williams? So, that just really excited me. And I'm so glad to have had the opportunity to have that experience. And it's not just that too, right? I mean, this is my sis from Compton. I mean, we Compton alums. I mean, stand up. Like, that's what's going on. So I'm so excited by this and excited to get working. And so I felt like as part of that, as part of that news, I wanted to have a conversation about technical interviewing, specifically as it impacts the Black community. Now, I know that, there's a lot of people that have to do technical interviews. It's just the rite of passage. I want to talk about specifically how it impacts the Black community. So that's why I've invited these professionals here, these engineers, these founders, these entrepreneurs, these experts, to just have this conversation. And so I'm really looking forward to jumping into that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. And so, I'm going to try to wear a bunch of hats here, but I want to just go ahead and get us started and make sure to focus as host. I want everybody to introduce themselves, and so I'm just going to go in screen order. Jared, I want you to go ahead and get us started, and then Bria, I'll have you introduce yourself after that.
All right, Anthony, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Really love what you're doing. My name is Jared Albritton. I've been in tech since 2006, so over 15 years. Started my career off at IBM, was there for about 4+ years, and then spent the rest of my career in the startup space where I was part of an acquisition and an IPO. Stumbled onto social audio in 2020 and saw this as an amazing opportunity to help get more diversity in tech, especially get more Black people in tech by doing social audio stages such as these, and also do a room bi-weekly called Tech Careers Recruiter Spotlight. We'll have 30 to 40 recruiters on stage offering up roles people come off stage, shoot their shot. We had over 100 people breaking into tech through these rooms, and now I've been expanding the platform to Twitter Spaces, LinkedIn Audio, and other social audio platforms. So very passionate about diversity in tech and love the topic of how can we help double the amount of Black software engineers utilizing your organization, Anthony, and the Carrot platform. And so look forward to talking about this topic. And yeah, thanks for letting me be here.
Thanks so much. Bria, you're up.
Hey, thank you. Sorry, it wasn't showing my audio. But yeah, thank you for having me. My name's Bria Sullivan. I'm currently the CTO of Honeybee Games. It's an independent game studio. I'm also the founder of it. And prior to starting this game studio, I was at Google as a software engineer for almost 5 years. Prior to that, I was a PM at Microsoft. While I was at Google, I did a lot of helping and advising tech startups and helping them acquire more like technical talent and like specifically Black tech startups. And then I also helped a lot of people, underrepresented people in tech, like get into technical roles. So this is a very passionate space for me, and like Anthony's helped me out in the past before, so of course I want to help him out. It's a very, very hard problem to solve, but I believe that we can do it because we're all working together.
Thank you so much, Bria, and I'm so glad that you were able to join us today. Kelsey Hightower, what's up, man? Excellent. Thank you so much. Chisholm, introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Anthony. Thank you for having me here. My name is Chisholm. I'm currently a software engineer at Microsoft, based in Lagos, Nigeria. I recently completed my internship with the Bank of America. So when I'm not doing anything too technical, I help people, job seekers, land entry-level roles in tech. I post job alerts, resume reviews, and I also organize mock interviews. So I could literally relate to what Anthony does, and I feel he's doing a really good job.
So grateful. Thank you, Chisholm, for being here. I also have Jeff Spector, who's in the audience. I'm trying to get him up on the stage. So Jeff, if you see an invite for me to be a speaker, just try to accept it. And if you can't, don't worry about it. Or you can send me a speaker request, and I'll try to honor that and get you up here. Okay, cool. So while Jeff is working his way up here, and by the way, I'll just quickly introduce Jeff. So Jeff and Mo are the co-founders of Carrot. And when I found out about their vision and their mission to make technical interviewing fair and equitable and even enjoyable, I was skeptical, like really enjoyable, like who likes interviews? And there's certainly, I think, some issues with technical interviewing nowadays and how that presents challenges specifically for underrepresented folk. But I had a conversation with Jeff and Mo and just really loved their vision and the things that they were trying to do. And so I committed myself to trying to be a part of that. And yeah, I was able to jump in. And so, I'm very excited to be partnering with, especially with the Brilliant Black Minds program. So I wanted Jeff to come and, as co-founder of Carrot, just speak on his experience from his side. Listen, I know that everybody can only hear me right now. So if you're not on Twitter Spaces, you can only hear me. I'm sorry about that. For some reason, my whole little setup just blew up out the window. And unfortunately, it's not catching the audio from my phone. So I told you I was trying some crazy stuff, but it's not quite working out. So if you want to hear what the other speakers are saying, because I'm not going to repeat after them, you can move over to Twitter, check out Twitter Spaces, join us in there, and you'll be able to hear the audio just fine from everybody and all the speakers. So sorry about that. I took a big risk and that kind of dive. But you're more than welcome to join us on Twitter Spaces, where everything is going live right now. So with that said, let's jump into the discussion. I have a question, and I want to direct this specifically to Bria and to Chisholm as software engineers who've gone through the interview process. I just want to ask you both, like, what was the interview experience like for you? What's your interviewing journey? Did you feel like you were having, did you feel like it was an enjoyable experience? Did you feel like it was a rough experience? Like, talk a little bit about your journey in the tech as it relates to interviewing. So we'll start with you, Bria.
Sure. So I want to talk pre-Google and then post-Google. But I'm not sure how relevant it is and how much has changed since then. So pre-Google, this was 2015 for me, and I remember like intense studying. Like it required me, buying different books. I didn't do cracking the coding interview. I did like a different design patterns one, and then interview bit. I basically studied 3 hours a day after work every day, and then about 8 hours a day on the weekends for about a month and a half to 2 months. And even with doing all of that, like when I did get into like the interview space, so the first place I interviewed, real quick, is it okay if I mention names of where I've interviewed and like my experiences there? Like, is everyone okay with that?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So my first interview was at Snapchat, and this was like, pre-IPO and all of that, I believe. And it was not the best experience for me. I did not think that the people were necessarily on my side. And then the very first, they didn't give enough background on how to prepare, and it was one of those, it wasn't a whiteboarding interview, it was more like, you bring your laptop, but like they didn't tell me like what editor to have or to what like to have a system set up and anything like that. And so the very first interviewer kind of like really shook my confidence and was like, "Oh, you're not prepared," but I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I also had just bought a brand new laptop. They didn't tell me. They just said, "Bring your laptop." So that kind of shook me the rest of the interview. And then I did Google the week after and did do well, but I did feel like a lot of the interviewers, and I'm not just trying to like prop Google up, but it was just my experience. I was interviewing at the office that Anthony used to work at in Irvine, and I just felt like everyone was like they wanted me to be successful, so I feel like I performed better in that case. And so post my software engineering career at Google, I even did interview for different roles within Google, still in engineering, but like in the developer advocate role. I've had good and bad experiences, and the thing that I've taken away from it is really like I personally don't do well when I get shook, and like I already get a little bit nervous. So if my confidence gets shaken a little bit, or something goes wrong a little bit, then like sometimes I just like shut down and I feel dumb and I can't remember things. But I will say since then it's gotten easier. So in gaming I have to do a lot of really complex stuff. So I'm using data structures and solving very similar problems as what they ask you in technical interviews. I have to solve those things pretty frequently. But I still do, if I do interview again, I do have to do a ton of preparing. I have to do a ton of like reading and even practicing with friends. And I feel like I even have to tell my friends for like a mock interview, I have to basically tell them to be mean to me when I'm practicing, just in case like someone is really just trying to grill me. Then it's a format that I personally don't perform well in. So I have, but it's a format that I have the potential to not perform well in. So I don't know if it's necessarily fair, but I don't want to judge it as being fair or unfair. It's more that it's not enjoyable for me, nor do I feel like it. I don't think that it has ever evaluated my abilities. And if anything, I feel like sometimes they make me feel like I'm stupider than I am. So yeah, that's how I feel. Or that's been my experience in the past few years.
Yeah. We need to talk about those stressor interviews. We'll get back to that in a moment. Chisholm, tell us about your story.
Okay, so technical interviewing for me wasn't wasn't a walk in the park. I literally didn't know that you could land roles at bank companies. I literally didn't know. So Microsoft, Google, Facebook was kind of like a 4 year, 5 year plan for my career.
Yeah.
But luckily for me, I was in a group of, I was within a group of people that made me think that these things were possible. So I was applying straight from school, right in my final year. I joined Microsoft as a new graduate from school, and it took me about 8 months. I would say that it was really hard because it was super, super hard. I literally had to order cracking and coding interview from Amazon. It got shipped. I had to take a lot of courses on educative. At some point, I didn't actually think I knew what I was doing. I did a lot of mock interviews with my friends. I failed a couple of interviews. I failed a lot of interviews. I remember my first interview was with Bloomberg London, and I was solving my first coding question and I wasn't saying anything because I literally didn't know that I had to speak up to the interviewer. So the process for me was really daunting, but I realized that the more rejections I got, the more mistakes that I highlighted that I made, which made subsequent interviews that I did simpler. So I would take my Microsoft interview, for instance. It wasn't so much on a work in the park, but I used that as like a testing phase for everything I've been learning for the past 8 months. I was opportune to interview with Google, I interviewed with Amazon and other companies. So I saw that as like a training space. Interviews were not so easy. I would say most of them were harsh for an entry level role. But yeah, you said we're going to get to that. But my last interview was with my company now, and I would say I was feeling really confident in what I've been learning, and everything just literally started making sense. So I think that's my journey so far.
Thank you so much, Bria and Chisholm, for sharing that, because I think it reflects some of the experiences that I've also had. I don't know that I've had necessarily stressor interviews or some of those, I think, kind of tricky interviews where somebody's trying to get you and make you feel stupid. I may have, I just don't remember. But, these are the kinds of experiences that I think can put Black folks off, if I can be frank, from engaging in technical interviewing and finding that they have a space in tech. So, if you're involved in hiring or, those kinds of things, or if you're an interviewer, you should really think about what role you play in being sort of that front line of how people perceive inclusiveness at your company. I want to switch to Kelsey and Jarrett real quick. Y'all have done interviews in the tech industry. I'm sure, is technical interviewing something that you enjoy? Do you hate it? Is it somewhere in the middle? Is it you've enjoyed some, you've hated others? I'm focused specifically on the algorithms, data structures, or like the tools kind of technical interviews. If you haven't done it, that's cool. But some insights. Well, Jarrett, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I definitely haven't had technical interviews in the way that Bria, Kelsey, and Chisholm have, right? But I have been just preparing for this discussion, just talking to senior software engineers about, their thoughts on the process. And ultimately, it's an awkward process for a lot of people, especially, Black folks, where you have to show you know what you're doing on a camera, while also talking through the process importance of having controlled failure and having a group that's focused on black software engineers to create that controlled failure where you can slip up during that mock interview, where you can, explain it really well, but the coding is off and it's behind and it's throwing you off. Trying to figure out social cues with the person that's on a Zoom. These are all skills that I think are super important, and if not prepared for, can really discourage a lot of interviewers from, moving forward with future processes or really believing that they're capable of doing it. And so that's why I really align with what you're doing, Anthony, and I think it's great. I think spaces like this are great. I think as long as we continue to pull each other up into these situations at Google's, at Microsoft, at startups, as software engineers, and really help people understand the rigors of the rounds, the type of questions they'll be asked, and how they'll be thrown off. Like Bria mentioned, insult me a little bit so that I can deal with the emotional trigger and move past it and just be focused on what I'm doing. That's what I'm seeing with the technical interviews, and so organizations like the ones you're working with are super important. I'll let Kelsey get into the tools and all the technical stuff. That's beyond me, but yeah, that's my perspective on technical interviewing. I think it's great because there is a formula and a path of success, but it's a ton of work and a ton of time that you got to put in. So if you are in the audience thinking like, how do I get ready? Listen to what Bria said in terms of, the amount of hours a day and on the weekend that you have to put in. And you just have to put in that work in order to get into those situations and deal with the pressure and also communicate effectively. All right, so that's my thoughts.
Thank you so much, Jared. Now, Kelsey, principal engineer, Google Cloud, like you're probably the person that when an engineer is thinking about who they want to be, they're probably thinking about somebody like you, right? So, technical interviewing, like what's up with that? Are you a fan? Do you not like it? Obviously, it seems like it's benefited you in some way. So, talk to the peoples.
So just to be clear, I'm not representing any company right now. I'm representing Kelsey. So this ain't no Google said. This ain't no previous employer said. Just so we clear. I've been around the game for 20 years. I think the biggest challenge